Hello YouTube, welcome to part number 2 of us trying to fix these 8 Pokemon games. I hope your day has been great so far, so let's get into action. You can see those 4 games that we need to fix are Yellow, Red, Blue, and Crystal. Yellow and Crystal have a note saying what they have supposed to be done. Replace the battery, and the other one won't load. So for this one, we will do 1 and 1. The other 2, we need to diagnose them ourselves. So let's start with Pokemon Blue, one of our favorites from all time. Let's try and open it. First impression is this at some point have some sort of liquid damage. Battery is well installed, not like in the last episode. And I think it's a little bit sticky when you open it, but nothing to be concerned about. So you can see, let's put this into the Game Boy and see what we got. So far so good, Nintendo logo, nothing else after that. Let's put some air into it and then try again. Nintendo logo, but nothing. One more try just to make sure that we are not trying to fix something that works and we don't get nothing. So let's go ahead and put this into the mat, open the game again. As you can see, this had no screw, so we're gonna put a new one, OEM if possible, to this one. At first, I couldn't get anything that was out of place into the board, some marks here and there, and some exposed copper, but nothing really that can alter or affect the functioning of this game. Just trying to follow the traces, and just like this is what you need to do whenever you are trying to fix these games. Give it a good look, see if you find any spots that can create issues. Just like here, I don't know, the battery has a little gap that I don't like. I don't know, it was installed properly, but I don't like that there's a gap. Here you can see there's the traces of liquid damage, some exposed copper, and those traces, I don't know, might be broken. We'll have to test for continuity just to be sure. So let's put again the board, bring the multimeter and put it in voltage mode just to check the battery if it's still working. And as you can see, it holds almost 3.1 volts, so it should be working. So I tested those traces really quick and I couldn't find anything that was not connected. So what I would do in a situation like this is just go ahead and try to reflow just to see if this fixes the issue. If not, we will bring a copy that is working and compare traces pin by pin just to see if we're missing something. So after all this testing and another look at the back of the board, I couldn't find anything out of place. I even tested some of the traces on the back, but like I said, nothing was out of place. So let's go ahead and clean. I will do this very quick on the video because it's very easy. Just one cotton swab and IPA and clean it very well. So let's start doing the reflow. You have seen me doing this a lot of times. You have a lot of videos in the channel doing this. So what I will like to do is to actually bring the hot iron with the solder, touch each of the legs, and put some new solder into each of the legs. You need to do this with every single chip. That's how I like to do it. Some people like to spend time finding which leg is loose. The total amount of reflow that it took me to complete this job, it was for almost 5 minutes. Even with bridges and everything, like you are seeing right now, it was very easy, very quick. It's a great practice also to start with Game Boy games. It's way easier than Game Boy Advance and DS games. So after all of that work, as you can see, I also have a lot of care with this chip, the MBC3, because the legs are very close to each other. But instead of touching with the solder, what I do is I put tiny bit of solder into the tip of the iron and touch each individual leg. So after all that, very important step, you have to clean thoroughly. How I like to do it is I put some IPA with a cotton swab or a toothbrush and then dry it right away with a paper towel. This will remove any excess of flux that is still on the board. So now what I would like to do is to apply some deoxit, put some tiny drops into the board. This will help to increase the lifetime of this game. You can see, just bring a clean cotton swab and spread the deoxit through the board. So now let's close it. After all that work, put it into the console, and guess what? We have a Nintendo logo. Yes, we have this game working now. You don't need a reflow. And spoiler alert, this video contains a lot of reflowing. And as you can see, everything's working. It's not holding a save. So I think that when they changed the battery, they erased the old file. So we have a Professor Oak right there, which means there's no glitchy images. So this game should be just fine. Let's go ahead and jump to game number 2. But before that, we will put a brand new screw to the game. So now we have game number 2, Pokemon Crystal, the most expensive Game Boy Pokemon game of all time. It says on the note that it won't boot after the Nintendo screen. So let's go ahead and test it. This one is in good condition after all. And yes, we don't have a Nintendo logo at all. We just have the Game Boy screen. Let's put it again back into the Rayquaza Game Boy Advance that I love. Nintendo logo now, but nothing. Okay, let me turn it off again. Try again. One more time. Nintendo logo. But yeah, we have nothing after the Nintendo logo screen. Thank you for the note, sir. So let's bring the game. Open it very quick. It actually took way longer than expected. Let's take it off. Slide. And right off the bat, I can see that somebody put some work into this. Somebody reflow or try to fix some pins. You can see how much flux they use and they didn't clean it. In my experience, when I do reflow, if you don't clean properly the flux, you can even see there's some like flux residue with dust or something on the cartridge shell. So the backside of the board looks fine. Like I said, some marks, some exposed copper here and there, but nothing that will be affecting the capabilities of this game. So what I'm gonna do is clean it very quick with the technique that I mentioned before, and this is why it's very important to clean very well after a reflow. Toothbrush and IPA, and we are gonna clean it very, very well. Now, before the IPA goes away, because like I said, what we're doing right now is just pretty much melting, if that's the right word, the flux, but after the IPA dries, the flux remains there. So we need to remove it using our paper towel before it gets dry. This way, the paper towel will absorb the flux instead of leaving it on the board after the IPA gets dry. Now let's do the same thing with the back of the board, just in case. I'm not sure if it's gonna fix this game, but it's worth a try. Let's get it dry again. And as you can see, it's now not sticky, looks good. You can see the yellow stench on the left side of the board now gone. Looks very well. And there's still some flux that it's under those legs on the chip, but let's try and see if now it is working. We have the Nintendo logo like we have before. And look at that, it's working. Somebody went through all of those issues to try to fix this game and reflow it and everything, but they didn't clean it properly. So now we're gonna install a battery holder. You know how much I love to install these things in the Pokemon games. We're gonna use a white one so it looks way better on Pokemon Crystal. And let me explain you very quick how to properly do it, or at least how I do it. I'm gonna position the battery holder into the board, turn on my fume, put some flux while holding with tweezers, just a tiny bit on each side. Now let's remove the tweezers carefully. Bring our high quality solder. This is the one that I use for battery replacements. You can see it's bigger than the other one. Put solder into the tip of the iron. Good amount just to hold the holder into position. Now let's put it here. And you can see that I made a mistake, which is to remove the tweezers before the solder got cold. That's why it moved. So we need to hold it into position. And when it's cold, we can take away the tweezers. Now let's go to the other side. and do the same thing. You touch the pad with your iron and apply the solder. You can see it melts very well into the whole pad and it absorbs the side of the battery holder. So now we go back to the first side that we use as an anchor, and now we are gonna fix it and make it look shiny and good. Just like that, we have installed a battery holder. Now let's pop the CR1616 battery. Make sure it's well held into position. And it looks very, very good. So now let's bring the multimeter to test the battery. 3.3, brand new. Now let's test these 2 points, 3.1 and 3.1. That is telling us that this game is gonna save. It's now time to test it. I did this in the previous video. I tested the save capabilities of each individual cartridge, and it made a very long video. So for the purpose of making this video a little bit shorter, I'm gonna do this only with Pokemon Crystal. Let me clean the screen, create a character. I'm gonna name it Blast, like one of my friends. Well, I mean, that is his gaming tag. And as you can see, the game is working, saving, everything is perfect. So Pokemon Crystal, worth around $200, is now fixed. So let's go to game number 3, Pokemon Yellow. This also has a note says that they replaced the battery on December, but this needs a reflow. Could you guess that? So we're gonna follow the instincts, but first, let's test the game. Again, nothing but the blank screen after the Nintendo logo. I'm gonna make this a little bit faster. Nothing at all. So let's open the game, remove the shell, and this actually is in great shape. I cannot believe how good looking this board is. Again, they put a new battery on December, so let's test the voltage. I'm curious about if this is gonna hold us safe, which it has voltage. So again, we will follow the advice of whoever did this note, and we are gonna reflow. You already saw me doing this 2 times in the video, so I did it off camera, and now let's test the game. Of course, after I clean it very, very well. Pokemon Yellow, one of my favorite games of all time from my childhood. We have a Nintendo logo and Game Boy logo. Yes, it's working. Perfect. That was easy. So somebody did our job for us. So this game is worth around $100. So now let's go to game number 4, Pokemon Red. This one is not in that good condition, just like Pokemon Blue. For some reason, these are always the most wore down. After 2 attempts, nothing. We have the Nintendo logo. Open it very quick, and this board is also in good condition. It has the original battery, as you can see, and the board is looking so good. I can see some exposed copper, but nothing, that terrible. I saw some tiny spots, so I did another reflow because I couldn't see anything wrong. I cleaned it thoroughly, as I explained before, and dry it just like that. After that work, let's put it back together. Can you believe this will be the 4th game? If this is another reflow fix, this is gonna be a boring video. But anyways, it is what it is. Business is business. We need to make some money by selling these beautiful games. So I also dropped my Game Boy when trying to get it to test the game. And as you can see, we have nothing. But in my experience, after reflow, you need to try 2 or 3 times. So we have that Nintendo logo after the 2nd attempt. And look at that. It is working. So please, if you are doing this, be patient. You have to be patient. And I'm telling you, it is going to work. We got the Pokemon Red version. And we didn't take away the batteries. So we have a game file. Clavo, I think it's pronounced. Let's see their Pokemon. Jigglypuff. Stats. Look at that chunky boy. Reminds me of my cat. And Bulbasaur. Oh, this brings so many memories. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, click the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.